These animals may come off as something straight out of a horror movie or a superhero comic book, depends on how you look at it, because these 10 animals can actually live after death. What's up, Factnatics? This is Discovery Amuse, serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Stay glued to your screen because our number one pick seems to defy all laws of science just to survive. They're literally indestructible. Let's get started. Number 10, Cockroach. There's an ongoing theory that these creepy crawlers can practically survive anything, even a nuclear apocalypse. And it's no surprise, really, considering that a cockroach can actually live for days without its head. That's right, it's because cockroaches breathe not through their head, but through little holes all over their body. When a headless cockroach does die, it's because of thirst, because yes, their mouth is in their head, but they are so resilient they can hold their breaths underwater for 40 minutes. So yeah, don't be surprised if they actually outlive the entire human race and move on to the next era of life on Earth. You wouldn't want to miss our number one entry on this list because when it comes to immortality, cockroaches got nothing on them. But our next one is no slouch either. Number 9, Cuttlefish. If you're an adventurous eater, then this unique dish from Japan might just satisfy your macabre cravings. It's probably the closest thing you'll get to eating something that's still alive. But is it really alive? Well, technically speaking, this dancing cuttlefish is already dead, but because its tentacles are chock full of neurons, electrical impulses still travel through them within an hour after getting killed. And a dash of soy sauce that contains salt intensifies these impulses. Just be careful when devouring this zombie cuttlefish called Adoridon, because the activated neurons might just make the tiny suckers in their tentacles stick to your throat, which might choke you and lead you to suffer the same fate as the cuttlefish. No one wants that. Number 8, Salamander. You might have heard how salamanders can actually regenerate severed limbs and parts of their vital organs, thus making them virtually immortal. But how does this even happen? And why can't humans do the same? We are, after all, the most advanced species on Earth, right? So here's the secret. A little something called macrophages. These are immune cells that are essential to the regrowth of a salamander's limbs. Usually a new limb or tail can sprout out of a salamander's body within 40 to 50 days, but these take longer for terrestrial ones. If you're like me, who's dreaming of having this Wolverine-like superpower, well, there's a lot of ongoing scientific studies right now that aim to replicate this regenerative process to benefit humans. But we're still miles away from unlocking this natural mystery. Well, a comic book nerd can dream. This next animal story is so creepy it will make your skin crawl. Number 7, snake. In 2018, Jennifer Sutcliffe and her husband were busy working in their backyard when an unwanted visitor crawled and scared the living daylights out of them, a 4-foot-long rattlesnake. Mr. Sutcliffe, coming to save the day, beheaded the snake with a shovel. But just when they thought they had already defeated their venomous enemy, as he was about to pick up the remains, Mr. Sutcliffe's hand was bitten by the severed snake head. How is it even possible? Apparently, it is not surprising for a decapitated snakehead to stay alive for minutes and even hours because, being the cold-blooded creatures that they are, they don't need as much oxygen to power their brains, and that's how the sinister snake was able to exact its revenge. Now, this next one gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, divide and conquer. Number 6, flatworm. There's no use decapitating a flatworm because, incredibly, it can recover and survive even if you slice and dice it into 279 tiny pieces. And each piece will just turn into a new worm. Move over, Bruce Willis, because flatworms are the real unbreakable. But it begs the question, among the 200-plus worms, which one can be considered the original one? While you wrap your head around that. Biologists say that when normal stem cells divide as we grow old or when our wounds heal, they start to show signs of aging as it becomes harder for the stem cells to divide and replace exhausted cells in our body, just like what happens with our skin. But the stem cells of flatworms behave differently. They just don't seem to age and just continue to divide without a hitch. Things are just about to get even crazier from here on out. Next up, number 5, chicken. If you've come come across the expression, running like a headless chicken? It's because chickens actually can run for a few minutes after being beheaded. The remaining oxygen in the chicken's body activates the neurons spontaneously, thus enabling the legs to move even in the absence of a brain. But there's one chicken that will go down in history as the king of all headless chickens. In September 1945, a Colorado couple named Lloyd and Clara Olson were going about their usual business of killing chickens on their farm when they realized one of the decapitated chickens remained alive and kicking. No, really, it kept kicking and running headless. And it stayed alive for a whopping 18 months. As fate would have it, Mike the Headless Chicken became a local celebrity and was even featured in Life magazine. This next animal is also no stranger to magazine spreads because they're such gorgeous creatures. And yeah, they have found the fountain of youth. Number 4, jellyfish. This glorious species of jellyfish with a bright red stomach enclosed in a transparent bell-shaped body and almost 100 white spindly tentacles attached to it is called Turritopsis dornil, otherwise known as the immortal jellyfish. And it got its name for its mysterious ability to bring itself back from the grave. You see, when the immortal jellyfish dies, it sinks to the bottom of the ocean and starts to decay. But hold those eulogies just yet, because its cells will re-aggregate into a polyp, which in turn will eventually transform into a new jellyfish that's genetically identical to the quote-unquote dead jellyfish. Paging Marvel, I think we got a new concept for a superhero character. Now, what to call it? Jellyfishin'. Any suggestions? Comment them down below. Speaking of superheroes. Number 3, wood frog. Remember when Captain America crashed into frozen water and his body ended up being perfectly preserved until he was discovered and revived 70 years later? Well, the first Avenger can't hold a candle to these Alaskan amphibians because for them, freezing has become a way of life. During wintertime, Alaskan wood frogs can deliberately freeze themselves solid for as long as 7 months. When they freeze, 2/3 of their body water turns to ice and their heart actually stops beating. But when they thaw out come spring, they almost instantaneously hop away as if their bodies just didn't shut down for a long period of time. Number 2, woolly bear caterpillar. These fluffy two-tone crawlers have long been used by rural wives to predict how mild or severe the coming winter is. They say the wider the reddish-brown band on its body, the warmer the winter will be. Whether these caterpillars are dependable weather forecasters is still up for debate. But one thing for sure is that they can survive the coldest of winters because of their unique anatomy. You see, when the woolly bear caterpillar senses the extreme weather coming, its body starts to produce antifreeze chemicals that bring down the freezing point of the bug's body, so that they can withstand up to -8 degrees Celsius. That surely is one cool trick. We're down to our top pick, and boy, do they defy all logic. Number 1, Cardigrade. Looking at its face, I'm seriously conflicted whether to feel fuzzy or frightened. I'm so confused right now. These microscopic 8-legged organisms called tardigrades are more commonly known as water bears, can survive temperatures of up to 300 degrees and can live without food and water for up to 30 years. And get a hold of this, tardigrades have been around even since before dinosaurs came, 600 million years to be exact. At will, they can undergo a state of cryptobiosis, or fake death, wherein they squeeze all of the water out of their bodies, curl up into a ball, and just basically stop moving so that they can survive the craziest conditions like extreme temperature, pressure, or radiation. It's also believed that tardigrades can survive several days in outer space. If they were to star in a James Bond movie, it'll probably be called Die Another Millennium. Which one of these immortal animals amazed you the most? Tell us on the comments section down below. And if you're still not part of our fantastic tribe of Factnatics, do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can keep up with our daily dose of life-changing, boredom-busting content. If you thought these death-defying animals were bonkers, you'll go absolutely nuts over what 10 animals look like while giving birth. Check it out right now. Till then, stay resilient, Factnatics, and see you in the next video.